Good afternoon. Welcome to my garden, Teresa Marie Art and Design. And today I'm going to be talking about the 7 steps to successful gardening. The final step I'm talking about is step 7, which is called Integrated Pest Management. It's also known as an acronym IPM. And the way to do that is you need to have everything working together in order in an ecological balance to be able to have integrated pest management. So many times people will order bugs like a praying mantis or ladybugs, for instance, or plant marigolds, or maybe they'll order mason bees to pollinate their fruit trees, for instance. But without all the previous 6 steps of following the 7 steps of successful management, all those marigolds won't work properly because they need the right environment. And the mason bees will fly away, the ladybugs will fly away. So it's important to incorporate native plants into your garden or plants that are conducive to your garden. So what I've done is I picked some examples of some native plants. So these are a red flowering currant. And if you could see, the leaves on this one is a little bit smaller and the flowers are a little bit redder. This one, they're pinker and the leaves are a little bit bigger. I bought 4 of these at the same nursery in the native plants section, and they know what they're doing. But what happens is that varieties will, as they mature, they come out a little bit different. Behind me, I planted 8 Pacific shore pines. They all looked identical in a little 6-inch pot, and they're natives. And these are natives to Washington State. Again, I bought these in the same size pot, but as they mature, they develop and they are a little bit different. It's just like people and human beings and animals and wildlife. Each has its own characteristics and personality. So with this, I've talked about this in previous videos. Butterflies and mason bees will pollinate from this. Hummingbirds love this because it has a deep throat, and hummingbirds are also pollinators. Butterflies are pollinators. And I wanted to show you some material that I use. I got this from earthskywater.net, www.earthskywater.net. And these are waterproof. And I use these when I'm doing field studies out in nature or in the garden. So I got these from my area. So this one says common butterflies of the Pacific Northwest. These are common caterpillars of Western North America, my particular area in Western Washington, and I'm in Zone 8. And common bees of Western North America. And there's detailed photographs and characteristics that are common so that you can introduce your natives and not use herbicides and pesticides. And it is just phenomenal how nature works in a cycle. For instance, there's certain birds that eat bugs that are found in the bark of different native plants and native trees. And if you're using herbicides and pesticides, you're killing that food source for those birds, those bees, those butterflies. So it's important to not use insecticide and herbicide. What I did when I got pregnant with my first child, my daughter, and her birthday will be April 8th, 1983 was when she was born. And I made a decision to not use herbicides and pesticides. And it's amazing what happens in the garden, how nature really balances itself out. So I have all these native plants in my garden that I've introduced, and all these native birds have come, native bees have come, and native butterflies have come to my garden. which results in integrated pest management. And then disease is not much of a problem. So, some other books that I wanted to show you, I also follow the Audubon Society Field Guide to North American Reptiles and Amphibians. So, you want to be introducing native frogs, for instance, and I'm not afraid of like little garden snakes and garter snakes, but there's lots of information where you can identify native amphibians and reptiles. Another book is a Cornell Lab of Ornithology. The only one I could find, it was when I was visiting my son when he graduated from Cornell. But this one is on Eastern and Central North America. And I have an app on my phone, and I do an ID with a photograph, and it has the bird sound of the birds with each particular region. So I've registered for my region. Another book that I've got, it's called Birds of the Puget Sound Region. It's by Bob Morse, Tom Aversa, and Hal Operman. So I've had this book for many years, and it gives you all kinds of descriptions on birds, their habitat, where they live, the kind of foods that they eat, their migration cycle. Another excellent book. It's a little Audubon Society pocket guide, and it's called Familiar Birds of North America in the Western Region. So that's another book that I've used. And you can order them for your particular area. And another book I have, it's a National Audubon Society, it's a field guide to insects and spiders. So you want beneficial insects in your yard and in your garden that help to support the concept and principle of integrated pest management. So this is printed by Alfred A. Knopf Publisher in New York. And then if you can't find it, you can always find it through many sites that have books that are not, they're out of print. And you can also find many societies that in your particular area, and then they can be a resource. So many books I've also purchased through book sales at different garden societies and plant societies that I've been a member of. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. And remember to follow the 7 steps of successful gardening and integrated pest management. Thank you very much, Teresa Marie, Art and Design. Also, I'll be posting some videos in the future later this month of April, and I will be participating in my city of Olympia with a biannual arts walk in Olympia, and I will be posting some future videos about that as well. And I will be talking about what I do as an artist to really visualize and teach all the principles of gardening, native plants, promoting wildlife, and the not using insecticides and herbicides. So thank you, and I will see you next time.